KCBQ.
Welcome back. Welcome back. You're listening to Whissel Wednesdays here on AM 1170. The Answer. My name is Kyle Whissel, your host with Whissel Realty. Joined as always by Mr. Jason Hall, Team Home Loans, diehard Los Angeles Chargers fan, and also
I'm still
in
a free
studio.
Agent, man. I'm always going to be a San Diego Charger fan. I just don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to watch the games. I want to cut in because I don't want to forget. But
Jason's trying to take us down another rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm.
That's just what happens.
So let's talk about rabbit holes.
Let's talk about it.
So you are allowed to farm in San Diego City, right? This is not San Diego County, Billy.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about San Diego City.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So one of my clients, I was walking the backyard and I noticed she had, I believe, 4 chickens.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, wow, you have 4 chickens. This is like in the city of Chula Vista, like a block from the ocean. Like it's close. I'm like, wow, is this allowed? And she's like, yes, the city ordinance allow 4, but you can't have more. And you're shaking your head because you know that answer.
Well, so Chula Vista is not the same as San Diego.
Okay.
And from my understanding, and this is all Googleable information, so double check before you go saying Billy on the radio said this is totally good. But 5 chickens.
Maybe 5.
Now, roosters, that's really where they draw the line, because in the city, who wants to wake up at 4:30 in the morning to cock-a-doodle-doo? And my wife and I, we live in City Heights, and I'll tell you, maybe everybody doesn't follow the rules. There's some roosters going on. We're out there walking our dogs. There's roosters happening. But 5 chickens, there are some setbacks. You don't want them right next to your neighbors clucking. When they lay eggs, they cluck a lot.
Right.
But those eggs are delicious. They're out there. They're eating the bugs that go through. You throw
is
all
this
your...
true? They can literally lay an egg a day.
Absolutely.
And that's...
The young birds, depending on their breeds, all breeds are going to be different, but the younger birds that are specifically bred over the time of history to be good at egg laying, they're probably laying 300 eggs a year at the beginning, and then as the hens get a little older, they slow down. They're not as efficient, but they're wonderful. They entertain you. They keep your weeds down for sure, and you know where your food's coming from. And I think that's really where my wife and I find pleasure in that. We know the food we're eating. We know where it comes from. We know, if they're getting medicine.
And you know what the chickens ate.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you imagine whatever these, chickens eat is going to somehow impact the egg, right? Just same thing with our beef and everything else going on, our milk.
Yeah.
Even the water bottles, it's crazy. They say, we shouldn't be drinking water bottles.
Glass containers, yeah.
Yeah.
So when you're peeling your carrots for your salad and peeling your beets or just chopping the bottom of the celery off, all that's going out to the chickens. So they're getting, great fresh produce at the end of every day. They're getting good chicken feed. And then if a grasshopper happens to wander through there.
So let's talk about farming.
Yeah.
Backyard farming in San Diego City. What do you have in the backyard?
We got a lot going on. I don't know. I'll say it on the radio, see what happens here. But we did a trip to India, and I don't know if you're supposed to bring seeds back from other countries, but Sneha's got these seeds. We're doing some Indian spinach right now. We've got some beans going in the backyard right now. We did a project just in time for all the rain this winter to capture all the water that comes onto your roof and then store it in a big container. So we got...
I've seen some of those. Those are cool.
Rainwater to water these gardens. And then actually it's in the front yard. And I would tell you guys where I am, but enough people take produce out of the front yard already. We got beets, we got chard, we got tomatoes going right now. We've done spinach, carrots. If you could grow it, it grows here. And the most important thing is to have good soil. The soil in San Diego, it's not always the best.
We got a lot of clay.
We got a lot of clay. We got a lot of sand. The plants need something. And that's the beauty. When you start doing rabbits, when you start doing chickens, you got what it takes to get some good soil. Recently also, the city, thank you, City of San Diego, they give you an extra recycling bin because they want to incent recycling. So I thought it would be a great idea to take this recycling bin, chop it up, and create a container that I could also put produce, lawn clippings, etc.
We probably shouldn't say that on there.
And we got worms in there, and the worms are just eating all this stuff voraciously, and that turns into just black gold that you put in your garden, and the plants grow like you wouldn't even imagine it.
All right. Speaking of worms.
Yeah.
So my uncle, who's, unique in himself, and Kyle knows, he has thought that the best thing to do is, breed worms. It's pretty simple. They're needed all over.
Fish with them.
From fish, but most of the time people utilize them, I think, for fertilization and you're right, all that, right? Yeah. So, and the compost, right? That's really valuable stuff.
Absolutely.
What's the compost used for?
For gardening, you can put that right in any kind of plants that you're growing, whether they're edible plants or just ornamental plants. And that's really, Gatorade for your plants. It's what plants crave.
Right. Well,
grows
he
fast.
talked my brother-in-law into inside his garage, starting his own, worm farm.
Yeah.
And he now has hundreds of thousands of worms.
Which is kind of weird.
It's huge. It's bigger than the studio.
Yeah.
He literally has 2 huge containers, like bigger than the studio. It takes up the 2-car garage, and he's got worms. Now, he just gave notice, and he's moving into another property of ours, and I don't know what he's going to do with those worms, but
He's going to find a way.
but you're a farmer. You'd be interested in worms, right?
I got a lot of worms to begin with, and it's interesting when you go, "Hey, I'm Billy. I have worms." People don't look at you normal when you say that. But
Crazy.
It's better than crabs, my friend.
that's
better than
absolutely
crabs.
true.
Man,
but
that's
I wouldn't
funny.
mind a couple crabs for 4th of July, some crab cakes. That'd be good.
I love it. You're listening to Whissel Wednesdays here on AM 1170. The Answer. We're talking with Billy Craig, the newest licensed team member over at Whissel Realty, talking a little bit about backyard farming. So,
Or even front yard farming.
or front yard, but front yard's dangerous because people steal your stuff.
Oh, we don't mind. It's a good way to get to know your neighbors. And when you do become a homeowner here in San Diego, you do want to know your neighbors. So
Absolutely.
they come by. We had a nice lady actually asked my wife. We had some lettuce growing at the time, and the lady said, "Hey, could I take some of this lettuce? That'd be great." And Sneha, that's my wife's name, she said, "Yeah, you could take some lettuce." I get home, and there's a hole where the lettuce plant was. Instead of
took
taking
the
a
whole
few
thing.
leaves, she just grabbed the whole thing. Whoop. So like 2 or
Now you have to
3,
replant
yeah,
another
2 or
one.
3 of our lettuces disappeared, and I've been looking for her. I'm looking for you wherever you are. If you're listening, feel free to have some. Don't take the whole plant.
Yeah, because then it doesn't reproduce. You got to.
It's gone.
It's gone. Now
She-
you have to
she
plant
ate
a
it
new
all.
one.
That's
How long
right.
does it take for a head of lettuce?
Well, it's not heads; it's like leaves of lettuce, and they just keep going. So you take what you want to eat, and it's regrowing. And if you have enough plants, pretty much you cannot eat it fast enough. Sneha was so excited a couple months ago. She's gone through the Vitamix revolution. We've had different kinds of blenders, different styles, and try to make juices and smoothies, but they all end up a little bit crunchy.
This is why you look so good and you're such good
Not
shape.
ideal. Yeah, I had one this morning. Thank you, Sneha. But the Vitamix, super smooth, super delicious, and we cannot blend fast enough. That's why we don't mind if the neighbors take some, because it's good for them too.
Right, you can't use the whole produce.
Nope.
So what other items that you have in the backyard, or what would you like to have? Is there anything that you would like to have that you can't have that we can have here locally in the city of San Diego?
Well,
Or even animals?
yeah, Sneha said she'd like to have goats one day. I'm not a big fan of goats personally. They got crazy eyes. I'm not into that. Also, we don't have the biggest space. I think our house is 680 square feet. Everybody starts somewhere. And the lot itself, I believe, is like 2,500 square feet. So all this stuff, you're thinking in your head, oh, he's got these chickens, he's got this farm, he's got this beautiful, ranch in the center of San Diego. No, you don't need that. We're in City Heights. I think that's the densest zip code in San
Yeah.
Diego. We got neighbors all around us, but hey, they're sharing in the reward of front yard and backyard gardening.
Well, we got a farmer over here, and Kyle. Kyle's not only he does many different types of farms, but the first thing I'm thinking about is pig farming. How many pigs are you allowed to have
I don't know if
in
that's
the county
farming.
of San Diego? Let me just ask, how many pigs?
By
Well, when you think of a farm, you
default,
think of
the
cows.
county allows 2 potbelly pigs specifically,
Okay.
but most cities do not allow pigs.
Ooh.
So the 2 biggest cities in the county would be Chula Vista and San Diego, neither of which allow pigs.
So you possibly started in the city of San Diego, possibly with a pig that was not allowed. Is that what I'm hearing? Possibly.
That could be or could not be true that we did have pigs when we lived in the city of San Diego.
But the county allows 2. So now that you're out in Santee, you're in the county. and you
We're
guys-
in city of Santee, which Santee does allow pigs depending on the lot size.
Okay. Oh, it's based on lot size.
Yes, so
All right.
you can typically have 1, but if your lot's big enough, you can have 2 or more.
And then what can you guys have up in Ramona?
Ramona, you can have darn near anything. So we've got 5 acres up there. When you start going into rural properties, then there's different zoning, different animal regulations for every property. So you could have 2 properties next door to each other in Ramona, and one could be allowed to have X amount of horses or pigs or whatever, and the property next door could have a different zoning.
How's that determined? Is that predetermined?
Probably
type
at
of thing
the
in zoning?
dartboard, I would guess.
That's
They
a good
just-
method.
Yeah, I think they just put letters on a dartboard and threw darts, and we're like, oh, this one's a L, this is an O. So each letter, they're the animal
Designator.
designator.
So if you're buying any property up in Ramona and you want to make certain That's why you got to work with the
That's why you need a professional that knows how to actually
Yeah.
check what the animal designator is to make sure that that particular property is going to be able to accommodate your needs.
And that reminds me of a good story. Before I was working with Kyle, actually, he was talking to me about the property in Ramona that he has for Penelope's Purpose, which is a nonprofit for pigs, rescuing pigs that people thought would stay tiny, and then they got huge. So they got to have a
thought they
space
were
to go.
cute when they're a couple months old, and then they turn into these 100-pound.
Yeah, so
Potbelly pigs.
I think Kyle and I are just catching up, drinking a beer or two at the bar, and I was curious, how's this Penelope's Purpose going? And he's sharing this story with me. He's saying, well, we've got these pigs now, but we're having a problem with coyotes. What should we do about that? And Kyle told me that llamas, I think it's llamas, can be used to protect your pigs by stomping on the coyotes and scaring them away. And that was something that I had never heard of. And
you're a farmer.
And I like to hear about things like this. So I was really excited to hear about that. And did you end up going with llamas, or what was your final solution?
We did go and meet some llamas, which they're very interesting animals.
They like to spit. They're kind of mean.
They can be.
Do they spit?
The ones we met, we did not get spit on or spit at, but they were very interesting. The only reason we didn't go with llamas is because we have 5 full acres, and llamas roaming 5 acres, or at least according to the people that we had spoken with, letting them have free reign of 5 acres wouldn't be ideal, because they need to be a little bit more contained with the area that they're patrolling, which they can be great guardian, livestock guardian animals, but for our particular need with 5 acres, they weren't ideal. So we got Great Pyrenees dogs, which are like 150-pound dogs that sleep all day and then stay up all night and guard your livestock.
Nice.
Yeah. And
You
they
learn all
have
kinds of
these
stuff
big,
here on
fluffy
Whissel
dogs.
Wednesdays on 1170 a.m. The Answer. We learned that's something I didn't even know.
Yeah, so they're these big, fluffy white dogs, and the fluff is actually a defense mechanism, so that if they were to get in a fight with a coyote, and a coyote tries to bite them, they're going to bite the fluffy fur and not the actual
So it's
dog.
like 6-7
It's
inches
like a
of
shield.
fur, huh?
Yes.
Wow.
The only negative is that it tends to attract a lot of dirt and plants and little stickers and
You gotta have
bushes.
some-
So
Yeah.
not a dog you want to go hug.
If they're clean, they're big fluffy dogs. But when they're not
after all
clean,
that-
But 5 minutes after they're clean, they're
So are they pretty cool? Do you guys enjoy those dogs?
yeah, they're definitely cool, and they're very nice. But then when it's nighttime and they hear something, they get
They're
pretty
on it,
scary
huh?
really quick.
So this is really exciting for me today because a point of contention, I don't know contention is the right word, but Kyle and I have been going back and forth the past few months because now that I'm part of the business, I can actually go into the system that we use to keep notes and manage all the hard work that we're doing, and I can see behind the scenes, the Wizard of Oz, right? So what's one of the first things I do when I become, a worker at Whissel Realty? Well, I go find myself because I actually bought my home with Kyle and I had such a good experience. That's why I'm working here now. But of course, I'm so curious. I can't help it. So I find myself. I find the notes behind the screen.
I don't even remember what I
What
put.
did Kyle put? So he's got notes on my wife, notes on myself, and God bless him, nothing bad. So that's good thing
I
number
was
one.
safe?
You were safe,
Okay.
mostly safe, but he definitely did put hipster.
Hipster,
He put
huh?
that in there. So
I believe that.
So now over the last few months, he's okay. Billy, you're our hipster agent. I don't think so, Kyle. He's like, well, you do all these things. You've got your farm, you've got your garden, and I'm so excited that we're talking about llamas. We're talking about his ranch, and all the things that I think Kyle says hipster to me for. He actually shares the same
Oh,
interest.
yeah,
and
he's
shares-
definitely.
So
that's why he calls you a hipster. 'Cause
So I feel
he
somewhat
considers himself a
vindicated.
hipster.
I can appreciate that, and I'm really glad that I got the opportunity to come out today and have this conversation.
Yeah, it's not a negative thing for him, for hipster, because that's what he considers. So
I love it. All right. Well, you got a little time there to learn more about Billy Craig with the Whissel Realty team. If you want to get connected with Billy, give us a call. Shoot us a text, 619-663-SELL, 619-663-7355. When we get back, we're going to talk about where the real estate market is at and some things you might not know because the media is not reporting about them yet. You're listening to Whissel Wednesdays on AM 1170, The Answer.